I definitely question whether I'm doing it like right, so to speak, which I think is like the wrong question to ask, but it's more so maybe an opportunity to ask myself, oh, is there something I maybe want to change in my life? I'm feeling things. Why? Do I need to change?
It's so hard to have the courage to change stuff because sometimes I'll feel like, okay, I'm so good in the spot that I'm in, but am I just too comfortable? And I don't know if I have the courage to do something else. But what if I did that other thing and I really loved it?
When I think about in Greece, it's no, I actually had like disdain for.
Dude, we never put it on.
No, I actually was like, I don't need that. I'm invincible. What? Oh my gosh. So naive, so arrogant.
So arrogant.
People going through their skincare routine on social media. I went from a one-step routine to, okay, you're doing like a 20-step routine? Okay, like maybe I should add a couple steps.
Everyone's at such a different stage. It almost makes it harder to relate to people, but there's so much stuff, even if people are at different stages, that you can relate to.
Ashley Luchini is my dear friend that I met during a travel writing study abroad course in Greece almost 6 years ago. She got her degree in nursing and is now pursuing a dual degree in women's health nurse practitioner and certified nurse midwife. We just had the opportunity to catch up at our mutual friend Katie's wedding a couple weeks ago, and we're just chatting about the general chaos of your 20s, figuring out your job, friendships, relationships, where you want to live, etc., etc. So today, Ashley and I are chatting about that. Conversation topics include, but are not limited to, the benefits of solo travel or dining out by yourself, the transition from being on a somewhat similar track to your peers in college versus those paths diverging post-college, how we'd rather have a one-word answer for the question, so what do you do for work? How comparison is the thief of joy, but we struggle with it anyway, and the oh so sudden shift from not wearing sunscreen 1 year to having a whole skincare routine the next. Quarter life crises vibes left and right. Ashley also had a travel nurse stint in Hawaii, and we definitely chat about that as well. Thank you for tuning in. I feel like you get to a point when you're on your own for a while where with meals you order in a lot and you're like, God, I want to go to this restaurant, but I have no one to go with as it goes. And then one day you're just pushed to the point where you're like, this is kind of lame. It'd be great if I could just
Yeah.
go.
No, it's so true. And I
So
feel like
then
once also no one cares. I feel like that's the biggest part is like
I know.
you feel like everyone's looking at you, but actually no one really gives a shit.
I know it's all in your head.
People are like whatever. And I feel like it's really tempting too if you go about yourself to like be glued to your phone,
Yes.
then you should have stayed in.
Yes.
But it's so fun and you can put like a cute little outfit on.
Mm-hmm.
You go out, it's your choice where you're
Mm-hmm.
going. You get yourself a little cocktail
Yeah, girl.
and you eat
Um,
whatever you want and it's just you don't
yeah.
have to talk to anybody.
Yeah. But then also, I don't know if you noticed this, but if you were to have gone to Hawaii with your significant other or a really close friend, for example, odds that you would have met certain people would be lower because if you're gravitating to hang out with that person all the time. And I feel like that's a very general statement, but what I'm trying to say is when you're alone, the odds that you talk to random people are much higher or they talk to you, and then you meet these people whose lives are so different from you, and it's so like rewarding and like it feels so good.
No, I totally agree.
You know?
I like I feel like that especially in Greece and then in Hawaii, just because we were like completely separate. Like if I had known people from my school, I don't think I would have ever met you guys. And even I remember I wouldn't have met you, but I wouldn't have been glued to your hip.
Desperate to make friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't know. I think you went, you and Rosie, you and Katie both went by yourselves, pretty much, right?
We all did. And I remember feeling so empowered and fulfilled coming back from that and having made friends. And I didn't think about it that, but it must have felt that way for like all of us.
But yeah, no, that's how I was too.
Yeah.
I really think it made a huge difference. And I feel like it's a combo of meeting new people and then connecting with them, but also, I don't know if you feel like this about sometimes when you go places and you know people from somewhere, you're not necessarily super connected with them as friends, but since you know them and they're familiar and it's comfortable, you hang out with them. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like this almost forced us to find people who we actually really liked as friends and really were like connected with.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're traveling alone or doing stuff alone, that happens even more. Just because
Yeah.
there's no crutch to hold on to, you're just let me find someone who I can
Right.
relate to.
Yeah, and you don't really have the luxury of being like judgmental or making assumptions about people like you would in
Hmm.
your home environment because I feel like it's just so hard to get out of that. But when you're abroad, it's the only people I can literally talk to are the people that are here. So yeah,
That's
I
so
don't really
cool.
have room to like decide whether or not I like want to do that.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just found it to be really good for me. And it also is such a confidence boost when you come away from a new experience and you've made a friend. It's just, it
Hmm.
feels so good. Like you didn't make a friend. I mean, you did make a friend by proximity, but like it's just so rewarding.
I feel like it's helpful too. I was just thinking about this because I forgot in Greece, I was like never on my phone because I feel like we never had service. In Hawaii, it was just the time zone was so crazy off that I never talked to anybody. So that I feel like helps too because you're just forced.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't really want to do this, but you're
Yeah.
forced. And I even noticed the difference between travel nursing in Boston and those two trips just because I was like almost too close to home where I could just pop back and forth. And I already had friends in like living in Boston.
Mm,
So it was still fun to live away from home, but you didn't really get that experience you and I were talking about. You didn't really feel like anything new or exciting or, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this thing.
yeah. That experience was literally such a highlight of my college years. And I genuinely feel like it was an inflection point. Like things were not great.
Yeah.
And then after they were just like good.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
So
I
that was
completely agree.
amazing.
Yeah.
I have one story about my first solo trip. It was to Hawaii, but only for a week, and it was like a
Yes,
vacation.
I remember that. The
And
marathon.
yeah, and I remember I went. So my brothers came out for the weekend of the race, which was so sweet. But before they got in, I went on a walk to go pick up my race bib, and I was walking around Waikiki, the very touristy part.
Hmm.
And I remember FaceTiming my friend and being like, what was I thinking? I booked a whole week here. You know that feeling where you're like so uncomfortable with the thought
Yeah.
of being in public alone?
Yeah.
You just haven't gotten past that yet. And I was like, what am I going to do? Am I just going to sit in my hotel room the whole week? And I walked up to some food truck to get food or some hot dog stand and met these two guys, not like in a weird way, but like
Ooh, Rose.
not like in that way. But they were very friendly and started asking, like, where are you from? Whatever. It turns out they were from San Diego and I was living in San Francisco. And we
Hmm.
ended up hanging out. And like, by the end of the week, I had been invited to one of their birthday parties and met all these people that were living in Hawaii that I never would have
Oh,
met
that's so cool. Yeah.
otherwise. And it was just really lovely. But the funny part of the story is I ate one of the hot dogs from the hot dog stand and I was walking with one of them to a bar on the
Hmm.
beach. And all of a sudden I was like, I need to go, I need to go throw this up.
Wait, what did you really say that? Or were you like, I
No,
have
but
to?
I was like, I think I'm gonna, you just go ahead. And I like threw up over the wall of one of these like luxury
Oh gosh.
hotels
Oh, Angel.
into like a garden. So sorry.
Perfect. Fertilizer.
And it was just so fascinating.
You're like, wow, I want to die right now.
Yeah, it's just a funny story that
And
I
then
felt
it
I could
blossomed.
share.
And then you blossomed into a beautiful butterfly.
But we remained friends for the trip.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember I had the time like that in Hawaii too. I didn't throw up, but I was literally like, why did I come here? I was freaking out. And then
Hmm.
this lady, you know, when you're overwhelmed and freaked out, and then someone starts talking to you and you just yes them to death?
Hmm.
She, it was on orientation. I'm looking at my schedule. I'm freaking out because it was on some of the days I had class and whatever. And I was like, oh my God. And the same thing, I was like, why did I do this? And then this chick is talking to me and she's like, did you come out here with anybody? And I was like, no, I'm by myself. I was like, but I was like, my Chris is coming in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And she's like, oh, your husband? And I was like, mm-hmm. And then she was like, "What does he do?" And I was like, "Oh," at the time he was like still in school for like his master's of computer science. And I was like, "Oh, computer stuff." She was so IT, and I was like, "Mm-hmm." And she goes, "Does he work from home?" And I was like, "Mm-hmm." None of that's true.
Right.
And I told him after, and he was like, "What the hell?" But yeah, you just
It really
like
be like
I
that.
really do that sometimes. And then I just like now it's so funny, but I remember in the moment I just was so uncomfortable and I just wanted to leave on the spot. And I remember like, even meeting some of the people in the room, I was like, I'm not seeing you past this week because I'm good. And we ended up being so close. I literally hung out. I got my nails done with one of the girls to get engaged there. Like she got proposed to.
Oh,
That's how it like just worked out. But
yeah. That's
so
so sweet.
travel in your 20s even though you have no money.
I know, seriously. And again, I feel like it's so easy to just be in your environment, your city, whatever. Either you have your friends or you think you know what kind of people you're compatible with for
Mhm.
friendship. But then you can actually make phenomenal friendships with people that you would never seek out for yourself. And I think that's so interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
that's so true. I feel like your friends change or your taste in friends change so much too. There are some people I hung out with in college that I'm like probably would not choose that again.
yeah.
Probably choose some other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah.
It's just interesting. It's like a beautiful experience.
Hmm.
But okay, can we talk about what we talked about last time? Because I don't
Oh
think
yeah.
it saved well.
That's
So
okay, girl.
that's okay.
It happens. She said no more. My computer was like, I'm okay. It was like, you really just fried my brain with that test, so I'm good on the recording situation.
Okay, yeah,
It's okay.
it's stuck in uploading.
That's okay. That's how I feel too.
Yeah.
Always uploading.
Yes, exactly. Always pending. Yeah.
Always pending.
Mm, yeah.
Get it, girl.
Get it. I'm gonna
Get
put that
it.
on a hat and I'm gonna
Yeah,
send
put that
it.
on a hot girl
I'm gonna
with the
send it.
little twirly thing.
Oh yes, buffering. Yeah, 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 I love that.
Yes.
Okay. Ashley, would you mind reintroducing to listeners what you
Near and far.
do? And also, everyone who's listening, Ashley was talking about Hawaii, where she contracted as a travel nurse for a couple months last year. No, 2 years ago. Shit.
Cheers. Oh, wow,
Shoot.
it's been a while.
Okay.
It's been a while, girl.
It is. Has been.
But yes, okay. I'm Ashley Luchini. That's Sweet Rose, as you know. I don't know if they know you like that, but I know you like that. And I am a nurse currently, but I am getting my dual degree in women's health nurse practitioner and certified nurse midwife. It's been a struggle, but we're doing it. So I like travel nursed the first year plus, yeah, I think a year of the program, and now I just work per diem. But we were talking yesterday, but we have reconvened because my brain was a little fried from a test. But we were saying how like when like Rosie was a software engineer and I was just a nurse, not just a nurse, but a nurse. It was so easy to just tell people what you were doing and you got a little confidence hit from it. But now that we're kind of on this different path, it's a little hard to explain to people what we do. And
Hmm.
it's like a little bit of a quarter life crisis.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
she's
Love it.
scary.
Wait, what do you mean? What does it mean when you say I work? Did you say carpe diem?
Oh, I love that. No,
I know.
it's called per diem.
Per diem.
It's nice. You pick up whenever you want, and some places have a minimum amount of hours that you have to do. Yeah, that's it. They have it's basically if they have someone who gets sick or they randomly have holes in the schedule, they want you to fill the holes. But it's
Okay.
nice if you're in school or if you just don't really want to work that much.
Okay. Slay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Carpe diem was not
Carpe diem, girl. I'm gonna
carpe
start saying that. I'm gonna start
diem.
saying that. When they call me to pick up, I'm gonna be like, unless it's carpe diem, I'm not coming.
Yeah. No, didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah. Thank you for reintroducing for your patience. But yes, what Ashley said, we saw each other recently, LOL, at our other friend's Katie, sweet Katie's wedding. And we just had a chat on the crises, skincare, aging, career
Ah.
direction, comparison with friends who are on different paths, things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, for me, I feel like when I moved home 2 months ago, it was an interesting situation where I had already been thinking about and wanting to do this entrepreneurial journey, but then I was laid off, so I was forced to do it.
Mhm.
And so I think it took me a while to be like, this is my thing now. And when I first moved home, I honestly just avoided conversations with people who I knew would ask me what I was up to because I hadn't really processed it enough myself. And I dreaded not being able to just give them a one-line answer. And I would almost anticipate questions they would ask or things they would say, even though it's not like I actually encountered anyone who had malicious intent or was
Mhm.
judging me, but it's just different. It's like less concise, less like widely accepted
Mhm.
as successful by society vibes?
Yes, so true. I feel like you always prepare an explanation too. It's never just like a one word like, "Oh, I'm this." It's I'm this and this is what that means and this is why and blah blah blah. It's never you can never just say the thing that you're doing. I feel like you always have to have XYZ to go along with it. And I don't know if this happens to you. I feel like it might be a little bit different just because healthcare is not regimented. What's the word I'm thinking of? A tier,
Like
right?
structured.
Structured. I'll always I have anyone. First of all, a lot of people just don't know like which is fine. It is what it is. They just either won't know what a midwife is or not know what a nurse practitioner is or they think it's something different, which is a whole other problem. But it's just because it's they gotta like tighten up their what we're calling it because even like in the literature they're like mid-level provider, APP, and nurse practitioner, APRN. Like there's so many different things you can call it, and I think that's why there's so much confusion. But I've had people be like, "Oh, so you're gonna be a nurse?" And I'm like, "Nope, already a nurse." Or they'll be like, "Why don't you go to med school?" I'm like, "I'm already in so deep. We are in so deep."
You're like, why don't you go to med school? That's one of my fun responses. You should do
But
that.
but the
Be
other
like,
thing is like at this point, my undergrad was 4 years. I've been a nurse for 4 years, and this
yeah,
program is 3 years. So I'm like, obviously, physicians have a different type of education, but at the end of the day, they're doing a couple more years of school. It's I'm at 4, 7 actual education, and then 4 like clinical. Yeah,
yeah. And
so, like it's in we're in there. Or like I love they'll be like, "Why don't you be a PA?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna be higher than a PA when I
you're like,
graduate."
no.
I'm like, "No,
No.
actually."
I know, I feel like you already talked last time, LOL, about like you just made a decision, but and you just jumped and you're like, okay, hope this works out and it feels right now. But like when you were thinking about like, med school versus PA versus NP, what are some of the reasons you decided against those ones, especially med school? Because I know I thought about it a little bit at some point
Yeah.
on a much smaller scale, but to me, I was like, that is a massive commitment, bro.
Yeah. I after we talked about it yesterday, I was like, "Why did I decide that?" But and then it like I like jogged my memory again. This is terrible, and I like don't even want to say this, but I feel like I really want kids. I don't know how to describe it. I wanted something I love so much, like birth. Like it's just the coolest thing. But I wanted something where I could drop down to part-time when I had kids and like it could still be there when they get older. Whereas I feel like with if you're like a physician, you have to be like in it. There's no like part-time.
Yeah.
Like it's like you're either like you're in it or you're not. There's no half and half situation. And I even remember one of the OBs that I worked with at my last clinical. She was so cool and had like, three kids under 3. And the poor thing was just trying her best to manage it all, but I think it's just really hard and there's something there's something so special about being a woman and being able to be a mother and provide and nurture for your kids in that way. And I think just, I don't know, kids want their mom. So it's
Yeah.
so hard to not pick one over the other because I always think about that too. It's depressing that you have to decide one or the other. But this was something where I could give 100% to both, if that makes sense. And the main reason is that I love to talk, as you know. And I found that as a physician, I wouldn't, not that I wouldn't have time to talk to my patients, but they have so much more responsibility in terms of like,
Mm.
they have like 15 minutes they have to see you and XYZ they have to get done. Whereas with midwifery, are able to spend more time on them just because of how everything shakes out. And you're able to go labor with them. You're able to go have an extra 10 minutes with them in the exam room. So it's just, for me, it made more sense just because I think of my personality and what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And it worked out in the sense that I loved it. Because I remember I was telling you yesterday, I was really unsure, but I knew I had to make a decision because I wasn't happy where I was. And I feel like it's similar to what you were saying with getting laid off and then doing that entrepreneurial stuff.
It is.
Girl, she's a hard word. Doing it full time. It's
Yeah.
like sometimes you just have to jump and see what happens. And if it's not right, that's fine. At least you know it's not the right thing for you. But I feel like 9 times out of 10, you love it and you don't look back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, girl. Yeah. Typing that
Yes.
word out all the time is not fun, but
It's
I've
hard. It's
gotten
hard, girl. I don't envy
better.
you about
Yeah,
that.
there's a lot of e's and u's
Hmm.
in that word, actually.
She's a spelling queen now.
Yes, she is. But yeah, definitely. And I don't know, it's just crazy how things feel like such a big deal
Hmm.
when once you're out of the realm. We also talked about that yesterday. Oh, wow. Once you're out of the realm of the standard path, high school, college, whatever,
Hmm.
when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, it's so natural that we would all go on our own paths and those paths are going to look so different. But in the moment, in the first couple of years after college, it really does feel like so stressful
Hmm.
because for me, it felt like I was making my own decisions for the first time that would affect the trajectory. And so they all feel like so intense. But
Yes.
also, like, when I was 22, 23, whatever, right out of college, I wasn't in the mood yet to think about my long term goals. Like,
Hmm.
that wasn't on my mind. But
Hmm.
then around whatever age, 25, I was like, we need maybe to think about this. Or like just understanding that you're gonna have to think about it at some point,
Hmm.
and it's gonna maybe suck to shake up your life in X, Y, or Z way, but maybe better to get a head start. And then I would hear advice from older people who were like, once you have more and more responsibilities, it's maybe harder to be very mobile with
Yeah, it's so true.
what you're doing. And so
Yeah.
once that started to sink in, it became easier to be like, okay, let's
Yeah.
shake this up a little bit.
I feel like that's been hitting so hard too lately. I don't know about how you feel about it, but I feel like especially like obviously we just went to Katie's wedding and then I feel like literally all of my friends are getting married and I'm like, "Oh, can I swear in
Oh,
here?"
yeah.
I'm like, "Oh shit, okay. So sometime in the next 10 years, like it's gonna be like more just like up and moving without consulting someone." That's a little scary.
Hmm.
And I feel like it just hits you. You're like, okay, like we are gonna enter into a time, very exciting time, but like at some point you're gonna have to consult, not have to, but you should,
Right.
to be like a nice person. You should you're gonna have to like consult someone before you do
Yeah.
things.
And you're going to be like a team, which is
Yeah,
like, it's
that's
more,
wild too. That's a
yeah.
wild time. Like
Yeah.
it's not just you anymore. My mom always used to say that when I was growing up. I have a little bit, I'm an adrenaline junkie a little bit. So I would always be doing like XYZ thing and my mom would get so upset and she'd be like, "You are not on your own island. You have a family. and
Mm,
God forbid anything happens to you, it happens to all of us. And I
okay.
was like, girl, bye. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. But now I'm like, oh, I totally get it. That's like your little, it's not just you, it's a
Yeah.
squad.
Yes. Totally. Yeah. I just think it's so crazy to think about that, dude. I can't imagine.
I
Like, what
know.
is
I know.
life?
Life comes at you fast.
I know. And yeah, it's just crazy to think about. It's just such a messy time because even making a plan is really hard because things change. Oh, and as you were talking, I had this thought, which is like maybe figure out what you want before it's decided for you, or you just find yourself in a path where you're like, I'm here and it works, so whatever. And even finding out what you want for yourself is a whole process.
Yeah.
It's a long process. I'm not even there yet. And it also takes experimenting.
Hmm.
You're going to know how much being an NP or working as a midwife aligns with you once
Yeah.
you're there. And then you'll know. But you wouldn't, like, you probably weren't thinking about that 2, 3 years ago and you wouldn't know. I don't know.
I it's so funny. It's all coming. It's like sad that it gets lost like this when you get older, but when you were talking and then it just reminded me when I was younger, you asked me yesterday why how I wanted to know how I knew I wanted to be a nurse practitioner. When I was like, I think 14 or 15, I was like, I'm going to find out what I want to do. I'm going to have a vocation. I'm not just going to have a random job. Like, I'm going to find my vocation in life and I'm going to pick something that I can't wait to get out of bed every day and do it. And I would literally pick something every day, no matter how bizarre it was, and I would write it in a notes app and just wait until something felt good to me. And I literally would write astronaut, physicist, engineer, baker. Like I had this crazy list of just random jobs. And I wanted to be, I always crack up. I'm like, I wanted to be a spy so badly, but I told everyone I wanted to be a spy, so now you can't be a spy. But
I want to
um,
be too, for
yeah,
sure.
I think it'd be so cool. But and then I remember I had no interest in anything medical just because my whole family is in it. And I shadowed
Mm,
this lady for one day and I didn't see one patient because I was too young. But I freaking loved it. It was like, this is what I'm going to do. And then, just like you said, like how when you're in it, you can really tell. I love being a nurse, don't get me wrong. And I think part of it is got like a little soured by the pandemic and everyone was just in a bad mood and we're overworked and whatever. But like being in the role that I am right now is the best thing in the world. It feels so good. And it felt good being a nurse, but I was so burned out. Even after 4 years, I'm like, oh, I'm done. I'm so done with this. But this is like being a midwife or being a nurse practitioner, being in this role just feels so right and so good. And I'm not yearning for more. And still, I'm obviously you're going to doubt. You're going to be like, oh, I wish I did X, Y, and Z. But like at the end of the day, I'm so happy that this is what I chose or this picked me just because it fits. And I feel like I love that you're doing this podcast because I feel like it comes full circle. Like I feel like every time you step on here and you talk to someone, you're like one step closer. I mean, you're kind of already doing it. This is the thing, you know what I mean? This is the platform. But every time you come on here, it's you're one step closer to finding out like what you really want to do.
yeah. Thanks, girl. So
Oh,
nice.
sweet girl, sweet angel.
Yeah, it is a messy business, but it's nice to hear the positive reinforcement. But
Mhm.
that's such a cute story about like you writing things down.
Oh, thanks, Bay.
Um,
I wish I still had the list. It was so funny.
yeah. Damn, you were on it. You were
I
on
was
it
on
like
it.
10 years ago, dude.
But what happened, I feel like this is important to note too, is I definitely, and I feel like you probably witnessed this change in Greece. Like, I used to be so like organized and anal and just making sure that I had all my ducks in a row. And then I don't even know when I realized it, but I definitely had my little crashing down moment where that wasn't feasible anymore.
Mm,
And yeah, you can work hard to get somewhere or like try to get your ducks in a row, but it's okay to not have them in a row. And sometimes it's not great for your mental health to be like
Yeah.
so cray cray about stuff. And that's fine. I feel like it took me a while to be okay with that, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's okay. Sometimes you just cry a little bit. You gotta cry it
Yeah.
out.
Perfectionist vibes.
Yes, girl. Sometimes it's like we let it breathe a little bit.
Yeah, we do. I totally feel that. The intensity is a lot
Yeah.
sometimes. But Greece was so good for that because, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it was just really healing for me. I don't
Me
know.
too.
We were literally taking a course on travel writing.
I know we just hung out and we I feel like those journals we did were just it was just like a gossip session. She loved. She connected the dots. Like for context, we had to do these weekly journals. Was it weekly or was it every day?
I
I like
know.
feel like it was every day.
I know.
No, you know what? It was. It was every day and then you had to hand it in at the end of the week.
Okay, yeah,
But we would all like write stuff
yeah.
in there, but we wouldn't really mention names, but she got
Mhm.
all of ours. So I don't really know why we didn't connect the dots that she would not figure out like whose was
Yeah,
like she knew. She had to have known the tea.
yeah. Christine was our instructor, professor.
Love.
Amazing, phenomenal lady. Yeah.
She up and moved to Greece too. She was from what, London or something?
I don't recall. Maybe, yeah. And then I remember she had a story, crazy story, where she literally
Yeah,
just
she was
learned
just
Greek.
like, I like literally just moved to Greece.
Yeah, and she like literally learned Greek, which is a very difficult language
Hmm.
to learn. Wow. Yeah, great lady. Loved her.
Queen.
Yeah. But yes, I feel that. Everything that you just said. And yeah, even the outside of the job stuff, figuring out what you want, I feel like is a process. Like
Hmm.
it's just like never ending sometimes. It's like, where do I want to live? How much money do I want to make? What kind of
Hmm.
lifestyle do I want? What is meaningful to me? Like, how do I want to how do I want to approach my finances? What do I want in a relationship? What do I want in
Hmm.
friendships? It's just so much once you open the door to, oh, I can actually have a say in this. Really think about these things.
Yeah,
And
it's so true.
so, yeah, I feel like that's maybe what your 20s is meant to be.
Hmm.
Just trying to find meaning in the struggles, girl.
So true, girl. I feel, you know that TikTok sound that's like Will Ferrell and he's I'm so fucking scared right now. I feel like
Yeah.
that's like just if you had to like summarize your 20s, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
It's like everything. Doesn't matter what it is. It's I'm just fucking scared.
Hmm.
But it's so true. And I feel like I don't know if you feel this too, but it's I find myself like I like a lot of different things and I don't know how to fit it into like I always feel like I'm having like an identity crisis. Like what do I like? Because like trust me, I'll flee to Hawaii. I'll go.
She will
And I
flee.
would part of me is I would love to live there forever. But I
Right,
also like love my family
right.
and they're not gonna flee with me. So it's like these two different things. Or even like you're saying what you want in friendships or what you want in a relationship, it seems like it would be really straightforward, but
Yeah.
it's not that straightforward.
Yeah.
And it's definitely hard when other people are doing stuff. It's like sometimes distracting in a good way because it gives you a little bit of inspo, but also not good distracting because you're comparing and you're like,
Mhm.
maybe I should be doing that or I would like that. I should be, I don't know. You know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah, and I feel like I was especially susceptible to comparison early on, and I
Hmm.
wouldn't say I'm, like, out of the woods yet by any mean with that,
Yeah, no, me neither.
and just perspective and realizing that we're all on different paths, which we definitely are,
Hmm.
but early on, I don't know, it's really hard because again, you're in that environment where you're all more or less at the same benchmark, whether you're 3 years into a nursing degree or three
Yes,
years
so
into a coding degree or whatever. But then you graduate and you move to new cities, or some people are traveling, some people are starting this job, whatever. And then some people are getting engaged or getting
true. The literal
married,
baby.
starting families or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it can just feel like a lot at once. And yeah, I definitely question whether I'm doing it like right, so to speak, which I think is
Mhm.
like the wrong question to ask, but it's more so maybe an opportunity to ask myself, oh, is there something I maybe want to change in my life? If I see that and I'm like, oh, I want that or I don't want that, it's situation where I'm feeling things. Why? Do I need to make a change? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like it's hard too. I don't know if you feel like this, but it's so hard to have the courage to change stuff because sometimes I'll feel like, okay, I'm so good in the spot that I'm in, but am I just too comfortable? You know what I mean? And it's, I don't know if I have the courage to do something else. But
Yeah.
it's like, what if I did that other thing and I really loved it?
Yeah.
I feel like that's hard too because you don't, I feel like the boat is so rocky already. I'm
Mhm.
not trying to rock my boat even more to a
Yeah.
point where it's uncomfortable. Or I
Yes.
guess more uncomfortable than it already is because it's already uncomfortable.
Yeah. Definitely. Hard being in a state of like instability. It's not great for mental health.
Oh no, girl. It's not.
No.
It's not.
But I just had this crazy thought. Maybe one day you could rent a place in Hawaii for like 2 months of the year or something. I don't know.
That'd be so cool. Yeah, I would love
And
that.
then you could just get like your little piece of
My
that.
fix. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
like
so true. Oh.
maybe in the winters when
Yeah.
Connecticut is less
When it's
pleasant.
dead inside, just like me.
Yeah, look, yeah.
Yes. Oh,
Um,
that's so cute. That's such a good idea.
cause yeah, I feel that. I don't know. This might be like a tangent, but I feel like when I was growing up, all I wanted to do was like get out of my hometown and explore and see the world, etc.
Hmm.
And then studying abroad in Europe felt so glamorous and exciting.
Hmm.
And then I feel like even with a lot of friends I've made in my 20s, you hear this, I feel like thrown a lot where it's like, oh, I want to have a house in like Italy one day. I want to like own a vineyard and like just
Yeah.
crazy random stuff. And it's like, yes, that. But then I feel like as I got older and hopefully matured
Yeah.
and realized how much I already had going on in my life. Oh, I'm lucky to have a beautiful family already. Like, I'm
Hmm.
really lucky that I have these people in my life. And it's, oh, I actually want to like really cherish these friendships, these relationships that I already have and that are already so meaningful. There was less of that escapism. Let me
Hmm.
just like see the world. Let me just get out on my own because I've proved to myself that I can and it's there if I want it.
Right.
So there's like less desperation to,
Go do
I don't
it.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it is then when you're thinking about like when I'm thinking about my future, I'm like, it would be nice to actually be in my hometown for at least part of the year, be around my
Yeah.
family, not make it so it's so infrequent. So I just feel like it's hard to make a 5, 10 year plan when I witness my own values, priorities, desires for the future
Changing.
changing
Hmm.
so much, you know?
Hmm. That's so true.
That's
I
all.
love too how you brought up like you could do both. I don't know why that has never occurred to me. But it
Yeah.
was always it has to be like so dramatic. I'm either moving to Italy, we're having a vineyard, or
We
we're
always
just
like
gonna
that.
stay in Connecticut forever. It's there's no in between. It's one or the other.
Yeah.
And I feel like also, I don't know, I didn't really feel this way so much after Greece, but I felt it, I think, because I was a little younger. That's the thing too, you change so much. But after Hawaii, I was just like, wow, you can live like this. You can literally choose how you want to live. There's no, you don't have to stay in XYZ place. You can just go live somewhere. It's the world's your oyster.
Yeah.
People say that, but it's like for real. You could actually, for real, up and move wherever you want to. Obviously, things have to line up. You can't really, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
that was really cool to
Yeah.
see that you can just
Empowering.
you can leave. You
Yeah.
can see the scene as much as you want.
I know. You can flee. You can say
You can
bye.
leave.
Bye.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is really exciting. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I miss California. It's
I
fine.
know. I feel like it's so funny too, even like our demeanor from yesterday to today. This is like classic 20s roller coaster. I feel like yesterday we were like depressed, and today we're like, it's beautiful.
No, I actually am in a great mood today.
No,
Yesterday,
me too.
I don't really recall what was happening
I was
yesterday.
a little fried yesterday, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, that's fair. Post exam.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
hitting, but it's okay.
Yeah, no, it really is such a roller coaster. Wow. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, should we talk about the other topic, which is skincare, LOL?
Skincare. Yes.
Just big shifts we've noticed from 24 to 25 or whatever.
When your skin routine comes at you fast.
Yeah, oh my gosh, Ashley. Yeah, when I think about in Greece, I actually had like disdain for sunblock, or what do they call
I
it?
know, dude, we never put it on.
No, I actually was like, I don't need that. I'm invincible. What? Oh my gosh. So naive, so arrogant.
So arrogant. I remember I actually started wearing sunscreen in Greece, I think. Like
I feel like you would have been on like the cutting edge there. Like you would have been responsible about
I
that.
was like, because what happened was, I think my mom was like, it was like beyond scared straight. She was like, you don't understand, the sun is a different beast over there. Like, you need to put sunscreen on, otherwise, you will fry. And like,
Yes.
I don't know how she scared me into it, but I did do it. But I remember before that, I would just like never even touch, I didn't even have sunscreen. Like, it was just like, we didn't own her.
Hmm.
We didn't own her. We didn't know her. It was like, no.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know when the shift happened. I just like I was like woke up one day, 25, at the ripe age of 25, and I was
Yeah.
like, seems like there are a couple of things that weren't there before.
Yeah.
And your skin routine changes.
Mhm.
We don't really have one right now. We're just throwing everything but the kitchen sink at her, but it's fine. And then
Oh,
people start talking about like Botox and tretinoin and
yes.
but last year we weren't wearing sunscreen.
I know. No, it's
Like,
insane.
I'm
No, it's insane.
confused. I'm confused as to how we got from A to B.
It's crazy. And I feel like I know social media was like around when we were in college, but I personally wasn't on it as much as I am now. And I think
Mhm.
that's also a big contributor because I see so many like people on social media that look so flawless.
Yeah, I
And
totally agree.
it's the same thing with a comparison. And I'm like, okay, how does your skin look like that, girl? And my skin doesn't look like that.
Mhm.
And then begins again, like, oh dear, oh dear. And then also, there's so many people going through their skincare routine on social media. I'm sure it depends on your algorithm, but you're like, how do you have so many steps?
Yeah, it's so
You do
true.
all those things
It's so
to take
true.
care of like your,
True.
like, is that what's required? Like,
If I'm tired, girl, I don't really know if I
I
can do the
know.
27 steps. We're barely making it to 9:30 these days. I
Exactly.
don't really know.
I went from a one step routine to, okay, you're doing like a 20-step routine. Okay, like maybe I should add a couple steps. I feel like that's like
Yeah,
how it went for me. And
yeah.
yeah, from one year to the next, drastically changed
Mhm.
habits. And it was like a need to know basis. Like it wasn't until I started noticing
Yeah, girl, it was not a want for sure. It was a
like the
like,
slightest
this
thing. And
is,
then I'm okay, maybe I should hear these preventative girlies out,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, I totally agree. And I was like, the fact that I used to just sleep in my makeup as like a standard of
Literally.
care. I don't think I started, I like, shit you not, I did not start washing my face until like maybe a year ago.
Mhm.
And I'm not even kidding. Actually, no, I started washing it during COVID because that was nasty. Because I got like the mask knee and whatever. But like the way I would just sleep in my makeup, it just came to bed with me. There was no, it was like we brush our teeth, we go to sleep, there's a little
Yeah.
mascara on the pillow, and then that was it. And
Right.
no skin issues. She was looking like flawless. And now it's if I so much as breathe in the wrong direction, it's a real problem. Or like when you don't sleep enough or don't drink water, I'm like,
Mm.
oh, didn't realize that I had my grandmother's skin right now.
No,
Love
it's
her. Love you,
crazy.
babe. But she's 92,
No, of
you know.
course. No,
Before I forget, I don't know where it made me feel like a lot better about it. And I don't really know where, I don't know who said it. I don't know where it came from, but someone, it was probably on TikTok. Like, let's be real. But someone was like, it's such a beautiful thing to be able to age. It's like
yes.
it's such a, I hate the word privilege, but it's such a privilege to be able to age because he's talking about like death that she of someone she knew when she was young and was like, that's so true. We have there one of my family friends passed away when she was 19. And I'm like, you know what? She never had the like 25 midlife wrinkle crisis. It's actually so cool that we have lived long enough and we're gonna knock on wood, hopefully keep kicking long enough to
Yes.
get some wrinkles.
Oh my gosh, yes. My brother's fiance and I were chatting about this the other day, and she had this story of when she was like young, maybe in kindergarten or something, and she noticed her teacher's smile lines,
Hmm.
and she was like, I want those. I want that.
Oh,
That's a sign of, I don't know, maybe happiness or laughter. They've smiled a lot.
yeah.
And yeah, I feel like that's cute to think about. And yeah, it's just frustrating how I seem to have been thrust into this situation now where I'm in a race to slow down my own. And yeah, I agree. Like, so many people's lives are cut short. That's definitely really tragic. Yeah, it's a privilege to age in the first place. So it's just, I feel like I just forget that when I notice these changes on my face and I'm like, oh
Mhm.
gosh. Because it's
I
like,
know it's hard because it's like I feel like you've been especially like women have been conditioned to you
yeah,
have to always look like you're 18.
yeah,
And it's a good thing to have a couple of wrinkles. It means you have enjoyed your life and you got a little vitamin D and you didn't wear sunscreen in grade.
exactly. But it makes sense why in society, it makes sense why we're like feeling these feelings of, oh, my
Yeah.
body's changing, my skin is changing. Oh God, I need to stop that now because yeah, it is then seen by society as less attractive or whatever.
Mhm.
It's just a whole thing.
Yeah, so true.
Like
I
I'm not
even do remember, I don't know what the ages are of people who listen to your podcast, but they can pencil this for when they turn that age. In school, we learned about how when you go into menopause, which is first of all, you go into menopause, average age is 51. That's if you're living to 100, that's half your life. So like you have a whole life to live
mhm.
after you go into menopause. And we were talking about how you just gain weight and it's usually in your lower belly and that's just normal. You just gain a little weight and it's totally normal and it sucks. It's not ideal, but that's how it is. But
Yeah.
I feel like so many people just try to chase. I
Mhm.
mean, me too. I'm not like no judgment.
Right.
I'm right there with you, but it's like a lot trying to keep up with everything
Oh my gosh, yeah.
when like
It's exhausting.
most of your life you're gonna be chasing.
It's like science.
Yeah.
It's like how bodies work. And you probably know a lot about this, but like for women, padding around our literal reproductive
Yes. Someone
organs.
told me that and it made me feel so much better.
Yeah, it's
That little guy is there for a reason. It's
yeah,
protecting your little your cuterus.
yeah. And also, it's like nice to talk about it because this is only going to happen more and more.
Mhm.
Say we have children or whatever, like our bodies are literally just going to be changing and changing. So it's like the first sign of it. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
what? I'm not young forever.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
What's
that I
that
think
about?
that's like I think that was like the biggest thing for me is I was like, "Oh my God, like there's no stopping it and I am not going to be young forever." That's just I don't know why when you're 24 even you think that you are going to be young forever. But it's like all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, wait, my body's going to change, my face is going to change, my hair is going to change." And
Hmm.
even like in when you're pregnant, like so many things about your body, like you're growing human obviously, but some of the things go back, but your body's never the same again. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like you birthed the human, but it's just crazy that this huge life experience comes and you're just never the same again. It's even I think about it's such a like symbolic thing. It's like your cervix, like you could tell when someone's been pregnant before because your cervix looks different. Isn't it cool? Like it's just the craziest thing to me. Like my mom was telling me I'm a twin, obviously, but
I forget sometimes.
yeah. Oh yeah. So we like crack. It's not funny because I feel bad, but she's literally she's like, I used to be like a 0 or a 2, and then you guys just opened my hips, and that was it. They just never went back.
Hmm.
And I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
She said I literally grew like a pant size just from being pregnant,
That
and it
is,
never went away.
yeah. And I feel like it's so fair to start thinking about it now because, okay, do I want to spend my life catching up or covering up what
Mhm.
is going to naturally occur? Yeah, it's along those lines of what do I want? Like, how do I want to handle this inevitable process? Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. That's such a good way to think about it.
It's what role do I want to play in
Mhm.
this? It's interesting. It's an interesting topic for
It
sure.
is raw. I think it's so fun. That was like so funny though in North Carolina. We were just like we both looked at each other and we were like,
Yeah.
"So what's going on?"
Yeah, no, because we saw each other, I think we started talking about it in October, but then we saw each
Mhm.
other a year before that, and I wasn't really thinking about
Yeah,
it.
I wasn't even thinking about it. And now I
It's
feel like even at Katie's wedding, we had that whole convo with everybody. We were like, "Who's with the Botox right now?"
Yeah.
It's just crazy. All of a sudden, I feel like you turn 24, 25, and everyone is just feeling it.
Yeah. Yeah, and not even as, like, visually externally, but internally a lot, like,
Mhm.
genuinely feeling, like, changes.
Mhm.
So it's just interesting. So add that to the list of the internal chaos of, am I doing the right
Skincare
thing?
thing that's gonna alter my life forever, alter my skin forever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But
it's a confusing time.
it is a confusing time, but it's really nice to talk about that. And
Mhm.
it's nice to talk about it with you. And I'm excited to share this on the podcast
Aw.
because it's all been so professional, probably because I
Yeah.
felt like I have to make it that way. But in reality, behind the scenes, all this stuff is going on
Yeah, it's so true.
as I'm trying to, yeah, figure out what I want to do. So it's definitely a huge part of everything we
Yeah.
just talked about.
Yeah, so true.
And it affects so much.
I
Yeah.
know, I'm so glad you're sharing it. I feel like it's just fun. I don't know. It makes you feel better. I like love talking about this stuff with you just because it just makes you feel better. And
Yeah,
it's like other
totally.
people are going through it too. And I feel especially I don't know why our age, like people just don't talk about it. Everyone seems like they have all their shit together, but like no one,
Mhm.
no one does.
Yeah, and there's less, I don't know, like when we were in those group situations, like
Hmm.
college, proximity to so many people your age. And then I feel like
That's
as we
so
get
true.
older, we go on our different paths, we connect with friends less frequently. So there's just less insight into everyone's inner state,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't
And
know.
I feel like we said, people are all different stages of their life. Some people are having babies, some people are getting married, some people are single, some people have never had a boyfriend. It's everyone's at such a different stage. It almost makes it harder to relate to people, but there's so much stuff, even if people are at different stages, that you can relate to.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're doing this, and I'm glad that I'll be able to share this with whoever's following along. And yeah, I've noticed I listen to a bunch of podcasts, and some of the people, like really experienced podcast hosts, entrepreneurs, whatever. There's this one guy I really like. His name is Stephen Bartlett, and he has this podcast, Diary of a CEO. And he's such a good host because he like he creates these environments in which the interviewee is really comfortable and able to share vulnerabilities, and then he's very open about vulnerabilities in his life.
Mhm.
And I think it's definitely uncomfortable to be vulnerable when you have this platform. You're like, anyone can listen. Like, it's uncomfortable and feels a little weird, but it just makes a really engaging podcast. And it's like, how lovely that this super powerful man is not afraid to be honest
Yeah,
about his
it's so
own
good.
struggles.
Yeah.
So it's good. That's why I like it.
Yes, girl. I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
yeah, I honestly, it would be great if I could do this more with people,
Yeah, I feel like you should.
like
Definitely.
friends and stuff. Yeah.
Even like when
But
Katie comes back from her honeymoon, you should ask her about
yeah,
married life and
yes, totally.
what that's like.
Yeah. And then she's a writer and what that's like, and
Yeah.
also trying to build her singing
Yeah, I
is,
was gonna say that would be cool to talk to her about too.
yeah, totally. Props to you for the idea, girl.
Anytime, sister. Anytime.
Okay,
Thanks so much for doing this with me. This was so fun.
thank you,
It's an
girl.
honor.
Good, I'm so
It's a
glad.
it's a gift, girl.
It is a gift, and we'll always have this conversation now.
Oh,
So
wow.
we can
She's
just
in the
go back.
archives.
We can just go
I don't
back
know
to
if we want
that.
to revisit her ever again.
Sometimes it feels like literally everything I create, I'm like, I know that I'm gonna hate that in a year because I'm gonna be
Yeah.
like, you've grown so much, you've changed so much, you're not gonna want
Mhm.
to like look back. But it's you just gotta do it.
You just
Just
gotta do
do
it
it.
sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and you have to see what was up.